I'm a vegetarian. Now, my mom said it was a fad. Well, this one is a fad that's lasted 40 years. I don't drink much either, although ice cream, I am so guilty as charged. It's a main food group. I grew up a swimmer. I became a lifeguard. I ran on the boardwalk for years, and now I walk miles every week. So imagine how surprised I was September 26, 2019, when I was about to meet my oncologist. I mean, I thought I had enough doctors. I had the doctor who delivered my babies 20-something years ago. I had a doctor who dealt with laryngitis, an occupational hazard for a news anchor. And, of course, I had my dentist. But an oncologist? Well, I also had a cough, and it wouldn't go away. And so there was an X-ray, and then there was a CAT scan, and then there was an MRI, and then there was a PET scan, and a meeting in a small office at Monterey Cancer Institute. The office was so small, there were only 3 chairs in there, and there were 5 of us. So my husband, myself, and my oncologist sat. My friend Kathy and the oncologist's physician's assistant had to stand. Kathy, by the way, is a registered nurse, so now for the rest of my life, she doubles as my personal nurse. Well, it was in that very small space that some pretty big words came out. The doctor said, "You have stage 4 cancer." You see, a tumor had traveled from the top of my lung to 12 more tumors in my brain. That room got deadly silent for just a moment, and then we heard these words. "Thank you, God, for my healing." We were stunned, all of us, including me, and I had said it. Well, that meeting, that set off months of treatments. I'm on a cancer drug, and I will be for the rest of my life. I had lung surgery, and it sealed the bottom third of my lung, and I had 5 rounds of lung radiation. I also had brain radiation. That was 3 hours in one day. And I wore this kind of medieval-looking mesh mask that essentially nailed my head down to the treatment table. But that was so I wouldn't move, and then the doctor wouldn't be zapping any part of my brain that was too important to be zapped. I was also allowed to choose the music that I wanted to listen to, and only once did the doctor have to say through the overhead speaker, "You're moving," and I said, "Your fault. You let me pick my favorite music." Classic Billy Joel, and I was tapping my feet. But you know, I was never afraid, ever, through any of it. And I didn't think much of that until I had a conversation with another stage 4 cancer warrior. And I heard that at the moment of diagnosis then, they had absolutely no hope. And that got me wondering, well, how can 2 people who are essentially in the same place in life, close in age, we had families, we had good jobs, so how could 2 people who were very much at the same phase in life have such radically different reactions to what's some pretty awful news? I wondered if what my friends say is true, that I am positively positive or sometimes obnoxiously positive. I wondered, did I have a spiritual experience at the moment of my diagnosis? Or is the entire question really just a metaphysical, unscientific bunch of woo-woo? I know that my answer was probably modeled for me for years, from the time that I was born, on several fronts of faith. I was born Catholic to believe that God is the greatest power and man is that power inside me. But I'm responsible to use that power for good, to use that power to help other people. A mom. Not surprisingly, my mom was a church lady. I mean, when I was little, she used to wear those little church lady hats and even the gloves. My mom taught my brothers and me, no matter what happened, we were so deeply loved. She also taught us that there's good inside everybody, but sometimes it's a little difficult to find, and it's our job to go look for it. And she suggested we might start practice by looking for good in each other. So a mom, a faith, and then a dad. My dad was born in El Paso, Texas. When he was 2, his mom died, and so his dad went back to Mexico, and essentially he was left an orphan. Well, he grew up to become a naval corpsman with the 1st U.S. Marine Division. So during World War II, it was his job to essentially try to save the lives of other young guys who'd been shot up or blown up in South Pacific Islands. But what was remarkable was that when the war was now over, he never told these horrific hero stories, never told stories that tried to make himself look good. In fact, he was so careful about the words or the stories that were worthy of him repeating to himself. And so my brothers and I learned very early on, be careful of what you choose to say and repeat to yourself every day, because no matter what comes out of your mouth, even if you're only saying it to yourself, they're like bricks and you're laying the path of your life. You're establishing the attitude through which you are going to look at everything in your life. And Dr. Viktor Frankl, the famous psychiatrist, agreed with my father. He was a prisoner in Nazi concentration war camps. And for 3 years, he observed thousands of other prisoners. He saw torture, he saw murder, but he also saw survival. And when the 3 years were over, he went back to writing the manuscript that he'd started before he got in there, Man's Search for Meaning. And in it, his famous quote, everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way. Well, having been a journalist for decades, I decided it was time to look for stories where attitude really might have made the difference. And I came upon Michael Archuletto. Michael was a handyman, a maintenance guy in a trailer camp in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And Michael was there the day that a car stalled and a 3-year-old ran behind it, and that car rolled over little Mario Munez's head. Instead of Michael running to get help, he ran over and was the help, and he single-handedly picked that car up off Mario's head.
Just grabbed the car and just lifted it up. I mean, the adrenaline was pumping so much, tires came off at least a good 10 inches off the ground.
Yeah, he said it was adrenaline that was pumping, but that's not all. He also said he was just doing his job. But he wasn't just doing his job, because that was fixing broken air conditioning and unclogging toilets. His job, he had decided, also included helping people no matter what. By the way, little Mario, he got cuts and bruises and not a single broken bone because of what Michael Archuletto did that day. Then there's the story of Jason McElwain, J-Mac. J-Mac was born with autism, and it was so severe that by the time he was 2 years old, the doctors, the experts, told his parents, he'll never walk, he'll never talk, he'll never dress himself. Their attitude was, let's give it our best shot. And so they made sure that he got out and at least played with the neighborhood kids. Well, it turned out J-Mac loved basketball, so much so that when he got to Greece Athena High School outside Rochester, New York, he tried out for the basketball team. No, he didn't make it, but he became the manager, and he loved his seasons with the team. His last season, his last game, it was senior night. And when he showed up at the gym, the coach gave him a jersey and said, tonight you sit on the bench with the team. No guarantee you're getting in the game, though. Well, with 4 minutes and 19 seconds left, it was amazing. They were up by 20 points, and so the coach said, J-Mac, go ahead in. And his first shot, a 3-point attempt, but it was a brick. It didn't go in. However, 7 of his next 13 shots, he nailed them. And 6 of those were 3-pointers. The last one, seconds before the final buzzer. At the end, he was mobbed by both teams and fans from both sides. Oh, by the way, he was a high scorer at 20 points in that game. So those are great stories, right? But what really happened? Does our attitude affect our outcome? Well, because I am a journalist, I don't need just nice stories, I need science too. And I found it at Johns Hopkins Medicine. For 25 years, they looked for a connection between attitude and heart health. So they collected almost 1,500 volunteers, and the first thing they did was separate them by attitude. They asked them about their cheerfulness, about their energy levels, about their anxiety, and they asked how satisfied they were in life. Positive people, negative people. 25 years later, those people who had been classified as positive were 33% less likely to have had a heart attack or any kind of cardiovascular event in those 25 years. 33% less likely. Now, Johns Hopkins admits they don't know what the exact mechanism is of that connection, but what they do say is that positive people have less stress. And so therefore, We have less inflammatory disease. Positive people probably make better choices in health and in life. And your negative emotions eat away at your immune system. Johns Hopkins says no matter how it works, there is definitely a strong link between positivity and your health. So, what can you do? Anything to up your positivity game, even just a little bit? Smile. Thank you. Smile more. Smile every day, even a fake smile. Because when you smile, a University of Kansas study says your heart rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down. So smile, it's easy, it's cheap. And maybe reframe your thinking. A couple of months after I had my lung surgery, we had gotten a pretty good snowstorm, and I had to get out and shovel. And I have to tell you, I wasn't happy about it. First heavy shovel, I can't believe I have to do this. I can't believe I have to do this. I got to the third shovel, I said, wait a second. I get to do this. I'm healthy enough. I'm alive. I get to do this. Shift your perspective. I don't know. I'm looking at some of you and you're thinking, nah, I'm set in my ways. Too old. Never happened. It's all I've ever seen. Well, Dr. Richard Wiseman of the University of Hertfordshire in England says, not true. He says you can change your attitude at any time. In fact, he studied 400 people, luck and unlucky people. In fact, they were classified as lucky and so unlucky, some of them were accident prone. He created Luck School. And in Luck School, he taught them the skills that lucky people use every day, even in a casino. At the end of the 10 years that he observed them, 80% of those people said that they were happier. They said that they were luckier in everything from love to jobs. But you still may be doubting it, right? You still may say, no, it's not for me. I'm telling you, it's easy. All you have to do is smile more. Maybe change your diet a little bit. You know, I'm a journalist. I think we should all be informed. But maybe cut back a little bit on news that tells you that the world is going to end before midnight tonight. And start to consume some positive things that are constructive, that are uplifting, and things that make you laugh. Man, damn funny stuff is so good for your soul, for your heart, for your attitude. Laugh. Even if you think comedy's not for you, seek it out. You've got Netflix, you've got Apple TV, you've got everything. Seek it out. And perhaps most important, please choose carefully what you'll repeat to yourself every day. Forget the mistakes. They're behind you. I hope when you leave here today that you find kind and encouraging things to say to yourself. I know that when I leave here today, and as God is my witness, after 2 months preparing for this, I'm going to say, I did my best job here today. I'm also going to say, I'm a nicer person now than I was 10 years ago. And the best is yet to come. And one more thing. See this picture? My friend Anne took this picture the day that she asked me about something that I repeat every day. Thank you, God, for my healing. September 20th, 2020, I was declared cancer-free, and I still am today, and I'm still jumping for joy. Thank you.